Hi, I'm Buddhima. My student ID is 303 I'm going to present you my presentation for Itech 3103 Assessment Task 3. As this course was all about IT strategy and governance, first of all, I thought to define what is IT strategy. IT strategy is an actualization of a comprehensive plan that outlines how technology should be used to meet IT and business goals. So at the end, the goal of implementing IT strategies is to maximize the return on IT investment. What can effective IT strategy provide in return? It can increase accountability, it can increase productivity, and it can enhance customer experience, and also it can reduce cost. In my assessment task 2, I thought to talk about IT strategies in banking sector. So I would define what are the factors to consider when implementing IT in banking. First of all, it needs to clearly identify the requirement, breaking down into elements why, how, what, when, and where. Ensure that this strategy is related to what organization expects from its IT strategy. Hire specialized knowledge. Perform internal and external analysis to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. By performing a SWOT analysis, it will contribute in defining IT department's capabilities and capacities to identify profit deriving factors and to invest wisely in a profit generating way. And also, it will help to identify the capability of meet and survive with external challenges such as competition. Here I brought two examples which defines the factors to consider when implementing IT in banking. Example 1. If the requirement of a bank is to automate 1,000 branches within a year, it needs to correctly identify the returning benefits by implementing such strategy and have a well-defined plan on the investment, and it should define the expected improvement such maybe 10% rise in customer accounts, 20% rise in revenues, 20% cost savings to reach by factors such as lesser human effort, handling and processing of more volume of transactions. And it needs to hire correct IT knowledge for this process. Example 2. If the requirement of a bank is to expand its ATM network, it needs to identify whether the business objective is clear. It needs to identify whether it would be profitable implementing in selected areas and how will this strategy contribute in enhancing customer experience. Banks use IT for many purposes such as data security, networking, cloud technologies, data storage and processing, marketing, and online banking. Hybrid clouds, API platforms, robotics, blockchain, and prescriptive security are some of the technologies that will highly contribute in future with the banking sector. Here I have listed some of IT management challenges, risks, and threats existing in the banking sector. Security risks such as data theft, compromised accounts, destroyed files, disabled systems. Misalignment of business and IT strategies such as management decisions that increase the cost and complexity of IT department. Existence of insufficient and mismatched talent. Mergers and acquisitions can complicate the IT environment. Existing technology may become disrupted or uncompetitive. Disruptive financial technology solutions. I thought to talk about IT risk management as IT risk is a common issue which can be existing in most of the businesses. There are so many types of IT risks: hardware and software failure, malware, viruses, spam, scam and phishing, human error, hackers, fraud, password theft, denial of service, security breaches, staff dishonesty. All of these belongs to the category of IT risks. IT risk management is a structured procedure of identifying, assessing, and mitigating risks, develop response plans, and review risk management procedures. It is important to be aware of legal requirements. And it is important to do IT risk assessment. This will help to identify serious risks based on the probability that the risk will occur and the cost of business impacts and recovery. It is important to prepare business continuity planning, IT incident response plans, emergency response plan, and IT incident recovery plan. And keeping policies and procedures such as safe email use, setting out process for common tasks, managing changes to IT systems, and responses to IT incidents. How to reduce IT risk? Secure computers, servers, and wireless network, regular update software to the latest versions, use data backups that include offsite or remote storage, and train staff in IT policies and procedures, and understand legal obligations for online business. Reflection. Mainly from the content of this course, I received an idea about IT governance commandments, IT resource management, ITIL and COVID framework, portfolio management, project management, IT performance management, Mintzberg's organizational structures, information risk management, and information security. I would say the weekly journals help me a lot to enhance my knowledge in weekly content because all of the weekly journals were having one or two uh, interesting questions to search and write a summary. And for the literature review, I selected to write about the banking sector, the IT about the IT strategies in banking sector. So I think I could uh, I could find a lot of information about applications of IT strategies in the banking sector, which I didn't know before writing the literature review. So that's my reflection about the course Itech 3103. It's the end of my presentation. Thank you.